Coming to you live from heaven's #1 source of news, the Faith News Network.
Breaking news! Coming to you live, it's breaking news! Coming to you live. I'm Cameron Flowers.
And I'm Summer Showers.
Stay with us as we cover God's gift of faith throughout the ages. Headlines ripped from history, stories new and old. Centuries between, from BC to 18, ordinary people who trust what they can see. Faith news, faith news. Faith news, faith news. Today, headlines today, who will walk in faith? Who's the heavenly headlines today? Who will seek His face? Who's the heavenly headlines today? Who will walk in faith? Our God is lifted to God, and we can learn. Oh, way up, trust in faithfulness, whenever let you go. His promises are true, true, true. What He says He will do. You can count on. That's faith, the faith, the faith news. Faith news, faith news. Faith news, faith news. Who's the heavenly headlines today? Who will seek His face? Who's the heavenly headlines today? Who will walk in faith? Who's the heavenly headlines today? Who will seek His face? Who's the heavenly headlines today? Who will walk in faith? Our God is gifted bigger than we could ever learn. Oh, way up, trust His faithfulness, but never let you go. His promises are true, true, true. What He says He will do. That's a headline you can count on.
That's a headline you can count on.
That's a headline you can count on. That's faith, the faith, the faith news.
Live from the Pearly Gate Plaza, it's your hosts, Cameron Flowers and Summer Showers.
Good morning to all the heavenly hosts. It's another beautiful day here at the Pearly Gates. We are so glad you've joined us for Faith News today.
As you know, we shine a big golden spotlight here on God's people, those who trust Him and His promises.
It's always an honor to sit here next to my co-host, Summer Showers. And may I just say, you have a brilliant new gold-spun hairdo today.
Thank you, Seaflo. I have to admit, I peeked up the lineup we have here for today, and it is halo-tastic.
With that, let's go to our roving angel reporters on the ground, Seraphim and Cherubim.
Heavenly morning, Cameron and Summer. We're here in Israel where everyone is abuzz about the subject of our Faith News feature this morning.
As you know, that's right. And everyone here is saying that Noah has been building a very long boat for decades. And if you know the dry weather around here, you know that's pretty weird.
Let's get it straight from his wife, Mrs. Noah.
Hello.
Just speak into the gold microphone here.
That gold stick?
Yes, the gold stick.
So, can you tell us a little about what is going on with your husband, Noah?
If you're gonna make fun of him too, then I'm not gonna.
Oh no, we are very interested in the construction project going on here.
Oh, in that case, years and years ago, Noah told me that God said he should build a very big boat called
An ark.
an ark. You've heard of it. And of course, I told him it was gonna be expensive.
I'd imagine so.
You have no idea. So, he builds the boat. I think, what do I care? He has a hobby. Then he builds the boat. Then he says he wants to put animals on the boat. But get this, not just the animals we own, 2 of every animals on the boat.
That's a lot of animals.
Clean up on aisle 5.
Exactly. So guess what we've been doing for the past year? Building our own zoo. But don't think I'm complaining, mind you. Oh God.
I don't mean to interrupt, but do you think we could get do you think we could get your husband do you think we could get your husband over here?
Sure, I gotta go feed the camels and giraffes anyway. Hey, Noah! Yes? Meet our new friends. They're not making fun of us. They're actually interested in what God has to say.
Definitely.
Well, you know,
Talking to the goat stick, honey.
if God says something, I should obey. But He never given me a reason to doubt Him. And if God says it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain.
When God told Noah there was gonna be a flood, it was a little hard of stomach since it's so dry they never seen mud. But I stood by my man, and at least I knew my friends would understand. Until I told them and heard them say, if I see it, seeing is believing. And I'll believe it, 'cause seeing is believing.
You're talking crazy. We're living in a desert.
Pop some sense into Noah! When you believe something you can't see. So what do you say now, Noah? Hey, Noah!
It's gonna rain.
Seeing is believing.
It's gonna rain.
But seeing is believing.
We're living in a desert.
I believe just the same.
Now you lost it, Noah! You will not let me down, though it's dry as a desert town. I trust His word is true. What He says He's gonna do.
It's gonna rain.
Oh, it's gonna rain.
It's gonna rain.
Oh, it's gonna rain.
It doesn't make sense.
Oh, it's gonna rain.
I believe just the same.
Oh, it's gonna rain.
Wait, what's that? What's happening?
Why not feel wet? Drip drop was falling from the sky. Drip drop, I can't believe my eyes. Drip drop was falling from the sky. Drip drop, I can't believe my eyes. It's gonna rain.
It's gonna rain.
Oh, it's gonna rain.
It's gonna make
Oh, it's gonna rain.
just the same.
Oh, it's gonna rain.
Here comes the rain.
Well, as you could see, it did rain. Noah's neighbors were in for a big surprise. Let's go to the weather forecast with our own Sally Soaker.
Yes, thank you, sweetheart. As you just saw, it is currently raining in Noah's neighborhood. Meanwhile, in Elam, Sinai, quail, manna, and quail are falling from the sky. That's right. God is providing for His hungry people by actually making food fall from the sky. Hallelujah. I am always excited for what God does next. Of course, in the desert it is hot, hot, hot. Night drop of rain there.
While Sally's making her way back to her seat, let's go to commercial. Just kidding. Everyone knows there are no commercials in heaven.
Wasn't it amazing to see the faith of Noah, especially when the skies were clear and it didn't seem like it would ever rain?
It sure was, you know. Having faith means you're certain that what God says is real, even though you can't see it. Let's go to Chera and Sarah on the ground, reporting in Susa.
Thank you, Siflo. We're on the ground in the Persian capital of Susa, talking with Queen Esther, who's quite a story to tell.
I'll say to you guys, Queen, can you give our heavenly viewers a little background on your story?
Viewers?
Never mind.
Okay, well, the king had been searching for a new queen, and he brought a bunch of us back to live at the palace, where they treated us as spa treatments almost every day for a year. It was quite luxurious.
I should say so.
And then, can you believe, out of all those girls, he picked me to be his queen?
That's quite an honor, but I understand you're facing what could be a life or death situation. Can you tell us more?
Well, you see, before I became queen, my cousin Mordecai made me promise not to tell anyone that I am a Hebrew. But now, there's this horrible man named Haman who's working for the king, who wants to kill all Jewish people.
Unbelievable. Can't you talk to the king about it?
You see, we have very specific laws here. Even as queen, I'm not allowed to go talk to the king unless he invites me. Anyone who goes to see the king without an invitation could be killed.
Mercy!
We've all been fasting and praying to God. Honestly, it's a pretty scary decision. But Mordecai says this may be the reason I became queen, for this very moment. Lord, I'm frightened. I want to hide this burden I carry tears me up inside, but I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone. Lead me, Lord. Lead me, Lord.
just receiving word that the king has granted Esther's request to come and see him.
And it looks like the king has removed Haman from power. Because of the faith of Esther, all the Jewish people will be saved.
Yay! Her very life was in danger, but she risked it all and trusted that God had led her to that moment for a reason. And that's faith of news!
You know, Summer, sometimes God calls his people to do dangerous things when they trust him. That reminds me of the time there's a man named Saul. He was killing all Christians. Everyone had heard of him, and he was scary.
Super scary. I remember that. This is the perfect moment for, I think this is the perfect moment for what Seaflow and I like to call fantastic faithing.
In Fantastic Faithing, Summer and I compete with each other, acting out the stories of heroes of the faith. Every time the bell chimes, we switch places. You participate in the voting by clapping your wings as we go along. Ready? Let me hear those wings.
In today's Fantastic Faithing, we'd like to remember the story of Ananias and Saul.
Let's get started. Saul has been on the road to Tarsus when he heard a loud voice. It was Jesus talking to him, but then he was blind.
So one day, there was this chill dude named Ananias who was minding his own business when God told him to go find the scary guy, Saul, and lay his hands on him so he could regain his sight. Regain his sight? Saul wasn't blind, was he? This sounded like a trick. Why would God make Ananias reveal that he was a Christian to the man that was killing Christians?
But our God is big, big, bigger, and Ananias was a part of God's grander plan. When Saul was on that road, blind as a bat, and Jesus spoke to him, he said a man named Ananias would come find him and restore his sight.
Ananias had to trust what God was doing. Ananias had to trust what God said to do without knowing the details or even if he would be safe. Once Ananias obeyed in faith,
Saul's sight returned, and he changed his name to Paul,
who wrote much of the New Testament. God did a mighty work in his life. And that's
Fantastic Faithing!
What?
faithing.
Faithing is when you trust that God is in control, and he is faithful.
I don't think that's a word, but it should be.
Let's jump into sports. The Halos and the Flappers are competing today in the final tournament of the season.
One thing you'll want to look out for is the leap of faith that both teams will be using. It's the mightiest slam dunk in heaven.
Let's go to the Hall of Faith now.
Watch the halos take a leap of faith. Watch the flappers take a leap of faith. It's the playoffs.
It's an exciting day here at the playoffs. Both teams are looking strong. It's time for the tip-off.
Dribble, dribble, dribble. Now pass ball, pass ball. Dribble, dribble, dribble. Now shoot. Score! Dribble, dribble, dribble. Now pass ball, pass ball. Remember,
warfare in heaven.
Be on your guard, stand firm in the faith. Be courageous, be strong, do everything in love.
Be on your guard, stand firm in the faith. Be courageous, be strong, do everything in love. Dribble, 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 now pass the ball, pass the ball. Dribble, 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 now shoot. Score! Dribble, 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 now pass the ball, pass the ball. Remember, no flying allowed.
Everyone can slam dunk in heaven.
If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move, and it will move.
Faith as small as a mustard seed. You can say to the mountain, move, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. 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 Dribble, dribble, dribble. Pass ball, pass ball. Dribble, dribble, dribble. Now shoot. Score! Dribble, dribble, dribble. Now pass ball, pass ball. Remember, no flying allowed. Leap of faith. Leap of faith. Leap of faith. Leap of faith.
Tie game.
There are no losers in heaven.
Go Halos! Go Flappers! What a game! Let's take a minute to go to traffic with our own Cameron Flowers. There's a slowdown of angels praising near the Gate of Awesomeness. The overflow traffic from the Hall of Faith has been rerouted to the Past Celebration Coliseum and the Sugar Praisatorium. For traffic on the ground, let's go to our correspondent Wingspan. Wingspan, can you hear me?
Yes, Seaflow. I'm here flying over Bethlehem where there's a camel broken down by the side of the road. It's going to take a while to clear those two speed humps. And over at Sampson's village, 2 enormous pillows have fallen, blocking all access to the main road. If you'll travel a few centuries, Miss Me, looks like the roads around the Red Sea just empty, so you'll have smooth traveling there. And that's traffic with Wingspan. Back to you, Seaflow.
Thanks for that Eye in the Sky report, Wingspan. Now we take you back to Chera and Sarah where, am I hearing this right? Yes, they're walking. I repeat, they're not flying but walking around the city of Jericho.
Okay, take up the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord and have 7 priests carry trumpets in front of it.
Excuse me, may we talk to you?
If you can walk alongside and keep up, sure.
My sources tell me that you and your people have been walking around the city for the past 6 days. Can you tell us why?
Sure can. I was near Jericho when the angel of the Lord appeared in front of me. He told me, take off my sandals. I was standing on holy ground.
Oh, right, that's my friend Mike. He told me about that.
What?
Never mind.
Anyways, the angel told me that the Lord had delivered Jericho into our hands. We just needed to walk around the city one time for 6 days. So that's what we've been doing. But on the 7th day, we want to walk around the city 7 times with the priest blowing trumpets.
And the wall, and on the final blast,
And after the final trumpet blast, the whole army will shout.
and the wall of Jericho will fall to the ground.
Yes, that's what the angel told me. How did you know?
Never mind.
This is so exciting, but I noticed those people in the wall towers back there were laughing at you. They didn't seem too concerned. How does that make you feel?
Following God can sometimes feel a little silly, especially when what He asks us to do seems impossible. Each step of faith takes effort, but it gets easier as you walk with Him. Which reminds me, word to the wise. If you're gonna walk around the city 7 times, you better put on some sensible shoes.
It was 7th day near Jericho, the day that they've been waiting for.
They marched around the city walls day the week before.
They got up at daybreak, and Joshua gave the word to march not one but 7 times by order of the Lord. And if the faith thing was in the air, what would God do? What was going to do? Was to sing hallelujah. Put on the walking shoes, the walking shoes, and let it put in front of the other. Walking shoes, the walking shoes. Have faith in the God and the other. Walk, 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 walk. Walk around that Jericho. Walk, 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 walk. Walk, just walk on down. Walk, 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 walk. Walk around that Jericho. Walk, 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 walk. Walk, just walk on down. The walking shoes. The one foot in front of the other. The walking shoes. The walking shoes. Have faith in the God of the other. Step of faith, take that step of faith. Just take that step of faith, take that step of faith. Walk, 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 walk. Walk around that Jericho. Walk, 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 walk. Walk just walk on down. Walk, 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 walk. Walk around that Jericho. Walk, 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 walk. Walk just walk on down. Walk, 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 walk. Walk around that Jericho. Walk, 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 walk. Walk just walk on down.
Shout, for the Lord has given you the city!
Wow, did you see those walls fall?
I sure did. And look, I'm wearing my own pair of walking shoes. They sure come in handy on the Prince of Peace hiking trail.
How about the faith of Joshua? It took faith to believe that just walking in circles would make an entire city crumble. You know, Summer, faith sometimes looks like foolishness, but it what pleases God.
So true, Seaflow. Let's go to the ground with Chair and Sarah. What's happening down there?
I'm here with a man named Moses who has an amazing story. There's action, drama, even shrubbery. Moses, what can you tell us?
I don't really like talking that much. I'm not a great speaker.
Don't worry about that. Just start from the beginning. I understand you heard God speak to you. When? How?
I was tending to my sheep when I saw a bush on fire. The weird thing was, it wasn't blown up. Then I heard a voice calling to me. It called my name.
And it was God!
Yes.
Do you remember what he said?
How could I forget? He said, take off your sandals, where the place where you are standing is holy ground.
Holy ground! That must have been exciting.
I was terrified. Then he wanted to rescue us from the Egyptians and lead us to a land flowing with milk and honey.
I bet you ran to tell the Israelites.
Not at first. Like I said, I'm not the strongest speaker. But who has believed me? But he said to say, I am who I am. The Lord, the God of your fathers, has sent me to you. So I'm going to go tell the Israelites what God said. Then I'm off to tell Pharaoh to let God's people go.
Oh, now?
Like, what now? That's why I'm so nervous.
There you have it, folks. It's about to get really exciting down here with Moses. Let's listen in.
Hello, Pharaoh. I've a bit of awkward news. But God of the Israelites has a message just for you. He has seen the sunset and blue of your hands, and not gonna lead them to the promised land. I am the Lord. I am the Lord. We will let my people go. Let
God brought 10 different plagues against the Egyptian people, Pharaoh at last let them go.
Until he changed his mind. The people turned around and saw Pharaoh marching right behind them. The Red Sea was in front of them. They were trapped. They cried out to the Lord, but Moses answered them.
Do not be afraid, stand firm. Oh, do not be afraid, stand firm. Be delivered from the Lord. The Lord will fight for you. Be still.
Then the Lord told Moses, raise your staff and stretch your hand over the sea, so the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground. I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, so they will go in after, and I will be glorified. The Egyptians will know that I am the Lord.
I'd like to report that the Israelites did indeed cross the sea on dry ground, with a wall of water on their right and on their left.
That's right. The Lord used Moses to help save Israel from the hands of the Egyptians.
Hallelujah! Well, Faith News Today has one last story to report. And after that, I'm representing FNN in the non-denominational NatFest on the Golden Clouds.
Of course, a real FNN favorite. Let's go to Chera and Sarah.
We're standing in Hebron about to talk to Abraham and Sarah. Many of you know them as the parents of the nation of Israel.
Here they are now. Abraham, Sarah.
I understand that you are leaving your country and your people to go to a new land. Why?
God told us to.
God said he will make us into a great nation, which I think is sort of funny since I don't have children and I'm no spring chicken.
God said I'll never forget it. He said to look up at the heavens and count the stars, and that my descendants will be like that. He said he would bless me and make me into a great nation.
Yes, and all the people through earth will be blessed through you.
Yes, that's what he said. Did you hear? It's going around.
That's a pretty big promise.
Yeah, but God said it, and I believe him.
Promise blessings on this family.
doesn't tug at your wings, I don't know what will.
Like I always say, people of faith may not know where they're going, but they know who called them and who leads them. That's what faith is.
Abraham agreed to go without knowing where he was going.
Noah built an ark because he believed in God.
Moses trusted that God would deliver them from Pharaoh.
Joshua believed that God would give them the city.
Esther raised her life to save her people.
Faith of any size comes through hearing God's promises, believing them, and acting on them.
You know, to have faith means that we need to know what God has promised. That's why it's so important to read and know the Word of God. All His promises are yes in Christ Jesus.
We believe God's promises are true. We believe what He says He'll do.
We'll rejoice no matter what tomorrow brings. Together we will join and sing. Hallelujah, praise the name of Jesus. Hallelujah, praise to the Lamb. Hallelujah, praise the name of Jesus. Hallelujah,
If we confess our sins, He is faithful and just, and He will forgive us our sins and purify us from all unrighteousness. 1 John 1:9.
Come unto me, all you that are weary and are carrying heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28.
Resist the devil, and the devil will flee. Make sure I said it.
Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua 1:9.
So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. John 8:36. Breaking news! People of faith are coming in from all over. People are hearing God's promises and believing them.
Will you be in the heavenly headlines today?